I have a few questions for you. One is regarding pension. Are you looking at ways for a nicer pension to invest in the infrastructure projects in New York State? In addition to that, do you see a capital gap in infrastructure investment? And if so, how much of that gap are you looking to fill?
Well, you know, part of our asset allocation allows us to invest in, you know, a wide variety of, investments. Part of what we're trying to do is look for valued infrastructure investment. As a fiduciary, you also have to invest in a particular infrastructure project that's going to get the desired rate of return. So we are working towards that. And while I can't share with you today, a big announcement, obviously investing in infrastructure is critical to our state, critical to our city. And again, as a fiduciary to the pension fund, we invest, based on the deal that we receive and how we can manage that and make sure we get a rate of return for our retirees.
Okay, great. And the reason why we asked that is because obviously, a good portion of the settlement is going to a lot of the infrastructure, the New York State, upstate infrastructure. And so we wanted to know if some of the pensions would be invested in that, but completely understand. We certainly have to be risk averse when it comes to a pension for our New Yorkers. My second question is around minimum wage. So the governor proposed a minimum wage of $11.50 for New York City, and I believe the mayor was proposing $13 for New York City, and you're proposing $15. Now, I'm along in line with you that it should be raised for $15, but apparently there's a gap in the numbers in terms of governor, mayor, and yourself. In terms of the $15 calculation, what kind of factors were taken into consideration? Things like cost of living, the rate of inflation, and why it's so different from what the governor is proposing.
Well, I think your job is to take the different analysis from the governor, the mayor, from our office, to arrive at what you think makes sense overall. It's your decision. We do believe, and I support the mayor's effort to allow our city to define or to decide what the city minimum wage could be, because our economists, our office, I think we have a good feel for the tempo of our small businesses and our economy, what we can afford, what we can't afford. I can tell you that the $13.13 minimum wage analysis that we did in June, we estimate that increasing New York City's minimum wage to that level would increase the pay of roughly 1.2 million New York City residents by about $100 a week, for a total of about $6 billion annually. And so if you increase it a little bit more and you get up to $15, you can see the amount of money that will come into our communities that's so desperately needed. Also, as the mayor talked about rising housing costs and the price of everything going up and the affordability crisis that people face, the ability to raise children in our city, it is not unreasonable for a city like ours to support a $15 minimum wage. At the very least, I would hope that you would allow us to have that robust discussion within our city council and our government, whether it's $13 or $15 or somewhere in between.
Okay. With that, how would we address the concerns for the small businesses, in particular the mom and pop shop, who might feel that it's just too high? They cannot afford a $13, a $15, or even an $11.50 a minimum wage.
There's a lot of studies out there, we should certainly get you some of them that I've looked at, that show that an increase in the minimum wage would not be doom and gloom for small businesses. Obviously, there would be an impact. I'm certainly going to tell you that. But here's what we can do to help small businesses, right? And you've been a leader in this in your first few months in the Assembly. For a lot of our small businesses, the city can help. We spend $18 billion a year procuring goods and services, law firms, accounting firms. We buy paper clips, paper, janitorial services. 4% of that spend is on with women and minority-owned businesses. It's absolutely disgraceful. And a lot of these businesses, if they could obtain those contracts, if we had mentorship programs and a real commitment to MWBs, then we would be helping those small businesses grow, hiring locally, maybe hiring our kids, and that's one way to help small businesses. The second thing is, we now have established in our office the Red Tape Commission. I'm not a big task force person, right? And everyone thinks that a task force solves everything. But we are going to look at the fees, the taxes, the harassment that goes into businesses in New York City. You know, every politician wants to be at the ribbon cutting of the small business. But then the inspectors come, and then the agencies come. And within a year, we've made struggling businesses are even in a worse situation. So there's a lot that we can do to help our small businesses. The question is, let's not pit the small business owner and the small business against their employees or people who have to make a living and will have more of an investment in that small business. Let's just help the small business.
Thank you. You know, I just want to quickly applaud you for really taking a look at procurement, in particular local small businesses as well as MWBEs, Minority Women Business Enterprise. And I know you implemented an audit process of grading the agencies on how well they're doing. Can you give us a quick, very high level of that process of auditing these agencies and the expectation, or what are you expecting from the mayor in terms of the MWBE analysis as a result of the auditing process?
So just very quickly, we have letter graded 32 city agencies based on the aspirational goal of Local Law 1. And we looked at the actual spend of agencies with women and minority-owned businesses. And most of the agencies got Ds and Fs, few got Cs. And that's because we're only spending 4% on women and minority-owned businesses, and there really had not been a light on this. And it just makes no sense from a business perspective. Obviously, it's unfair to many people who take the time to be a registered MWB, knowing that they can't get a contract. So that has to change. But this is not a political document, because even though my agency is not part of Local Law 1, I said to the people in the Controller's office, we can't grade city agencies without taking a look at our office, right? We are a $90 million budget. We have 700 employees. We also procure needed services. So when we did our calculation on our MWB spend, we got a C. And that says that this is about all of us lifting up the process for engaging MWBEs, right? And I think this is going to make us stronger, because there is a commitment by the administration. They're watching our letter grading system. We've met with commissioners. They obviously want to go to D, to a B, to an A. I want to as well. And I'm pretty confident that by next year, when we letter grade again, we will see improvement. But we are going to shine a light on this, because for years, the MWBE spend has actually gotten worse. In 2012, it was 5%. Now I think we're up to 4.2, 4.4%. So let's empower women and minority-owned businesses. Every one of these businesses want to do well, but they need help and they need mentorship, and we can do that in the city.
Thank you so much.